welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Happy to be here with you. A little bit chillier than I was a couple days ago when I was broadcasting from Miami, Florida. I want to thank Miami for being a fantastic host city and for welcoming Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I want to thank the College Football Playoff and everybody involved. It was amazing to be able to do all the content that we had down there. Media Day was incredible. The final head coach's press conference going into the game, as well as all the festivities. Being on a mega yacht, first time in my life, never thought that that would happen. And the fireworks, the game itself, the fact that it was a one-possession game, the hospitality, the hotel, everything was incredible. So Eric Poms, CEO of Orange Bowl Committee that oversees the Capital One Orange Bowl, and of course was working in lockstep with the College Football Playoff for this host site of Miami. He's going to join us in just a second, and he's going to keep us warm here. I'm going to live vicariously through him. Papa Joe's going to join me after that from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we'll have the opportunity to continue the College Football Playoff National Championship reflection talk, as well as the current NFL playoffs, and we'll round out with the Player of the Week, proudly presented by Myers Creek, inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. So let's jump right into it here this morning with Mr. Eric Poms of the Orange Bowl, and of course the CEO of the Orange Bowl Committee. Eric, how are you?
I'm doing great, great. It's good seeing you from afar. Saw you quite a bit over the weekend. Glad you made it home safely.
Yeah, no, and shout out to Miami Airport. That was great. Not shout out to DC Airport, which couldn't seem to figure out a lot of things with their flights, but did get home, and I think I've gone to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning 3 days in a row. So I'm
Yeah.
sure you're no stranger to that, Eric. You and I were talking off the air that
Yeah.
I said, "Are you going to take a break? Are you going to take some time?" You said, "We'll close the office, but I'll keep working." What has
Yeah.
kept you so passionate, so in it, and so just no matter what's going on, or if somebody tells you to take a break, you're like, no, I have some things I got to do. Why are you so passionate about it?
Well, first of all, it's great being with you. Um, Listen, my job is really with the Orange Bowl Committee. And, when the CFP was created in 2014-15, that first year of it, the big distinction from the BCS era to the CFP era was that the national championship game was being pulled out of the bowl system and being bid out to communities.
Yeah.
And in our marketplace, which is Miami and South Florida, the Orange Bowl Committee was, perfectly positioned to lead that effort. We have Super Bowls down here in Miami, and we see how that is, administered between the NFL and the local organizing committee. So, given the Orange Bowl's connection to college football, college athletic leadership, we felt we were the best foot forward to bring the game to the marketplace. We joined the Dolphins in Hard Rock Stadium in that conversation, bridged in government, Convention and Visitors Bureau leadership. And, so for us, it's, a window when you have the national championship game where you do your traditional, work on the Capital One Orange Bowl, all the events we do all year with the Orange Bowl, and then you bridge it with doing the host committee effort for the national championship game. And it's a Herculean effort. It's fun, but it's very time intensive. So now that we're done with the championship game, we have to pivot back because, you know, the Orange Bowl Committee is comprised of about 415 community and business leaders. And, each year, generally around the turn of the calendar, right after the bowl game, our leadership transitions. So we just recalibrate and we position for the upcoming year, given A, that we're in that window right now. B, this was the final year of the current CFP agreement, which was 12 years.
Yeah.
We're working towards what that is going to be. And we still have to clean up from this past year's championship game. There was a lot of elements that's involved with that championship weekend. And so we've got to make sure, A, we pay the bills. B, that we thank a lot of people that were part of that effort and made it happen. So that is a long-winded answer to your question.
Well, and you spoke about a lot of different things in that, but the fact that, you get to be the host site and to work with the college football playoff even deeper than you typically do when you have the Capital One Orange Bowl. And you and I spoke kind of going into it what that means and how that works out. Now that we're coming off of it, we heard Executive Director of the College Football Playoff, Rich Clark, thank your team. You were, obviously one of the people standing up on stage in representation of the Orange Bowl committee. What was it like coming off of it to experience this? Because you had the COVID season and trying to run the championship in that season, which was vastly different. You said numerous times you thanked the College Football Playoff for giving Miami a shot coming out of COVID where we could have a normal
Yeah.
experience. So now that you've done that, you've heard the words of Rich Clark, you've heard how he's responded to how he felt Miami was. What is your takeaway or takeaways from having this opportunity in Miami, and how you feel like it reflected who this community is and who the Orange Bowl is when you have that connection for the College Football Playoff National Championship?
Yeah, it's a great question. And you kind of touched on it. We had the 21 game, and no one knew when we were awarded it in 20, I think it was November of 2017. And there was a build up to that, and then all of a sudden, COVID becomes a reality for the world, the country, for South Florida, everybody.
Yeah.
And the game was played, and it was played in front of 13,000 people, and we were able to pull it off. In my 32 plus years of being here, it probably is the signature accomplishment, is getting through that successfully in a way that we could sustain what was incredibly important for both the Orange Bowl and the CFP, that these games were pulled off. But it wasn't the full gamut,
Yeah.
And so we asked them, give us consideration to come back, and the CFP was great and gave us the opportunity, I think it was August of 2022, and said 2026 game is available. So, we were excited about it. It was a big unknown for us of what that would be because we didn't experience the full breadth of the event. I'd been to many cities and seen the full breadth of the events in those respective cities.
Yeah.
And it was incredibly uplifting, to have the matchup. You don't know what it's going to be. And to have, end up being Indiana, this story for the ages, for that program to qualify to be in the national championship game. And then, on the other side, it ends up being the local hometown team.
Yeah.
It's kind of the best of all worlds. I mean, Indiana came in big, big numbers. No surprise when you watch the Rose Bowl and the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl that they would come in big, big numbers, but you didn't really know what it would be because there were so many Miami fans here locally, and
Yeah.
and so hype down here for from the moment Miami clinched their spot in the championship game, and the next night when Indiana did was unparalleled. And this is a year in Miami and South Florida that's unprecedented. 2026 has kicked off with the Capital One Orange Bowl. The next day was the Winter Classic with the New York Rangers and the Florida Panthers playing an outdoor game at Lone Depot Park when the Marlins play, to the national championship game. And then we're coming up with the World Baseball Classic, which is a huge event. And it plays really well in Miami, the Miami Open. You have Formula One. Later in the summer, you have, the World Cup. And then later in the year, you have the NASCAR championships, all in one calendar year. And we couldn't have dreamed the way to start it like it was between Texas Tech and Oregon and the Capital and Orange Bowl, two programs we've never had before. And literally 18 days later with this event. And so we were gratified. It was a great feeling.
Yeah, I mean, and Miami showed up. And I said this to you, I said this to Mike Leota. I don't know how any other city can have a better doorstep of leading you in than saying, there's the ocean, here's the sand, we're doing all of our concerts on the beach, here's all these cruise ships going by. By the way, media, the night before the game, go on a mega yacht and have a good time. Like, this is, it was it was insane to see how just and I did and I let myself feel it and experience it, and people see that when I'm broadcasting and whatnot. I mean, I did a lot of stuff on the beach itself. Just to speak to South Florida, to speak to Miami, you had so many thank yous. You spoke about so many people and counties and everything. But I mean, Eric, how do you top saying, "Here's the beach, put your toes in the sand, and then we'll see you at the game on Monday"?
Well, this is year 12, as mentioned. So they've been in 10 different cities. They've been in Atlanta twice, Miami twice, but 10 different marketplaces. They're going to Las Vegas for the first time next year. And I think every city has their indigenous qualities that they want to showcase. Vegas will be incredible and it'll be unique and
Yeah,
they'll play into it well. In our case, it is what you described. It is, we want the events to be on the water. We want, Dan Tortora to experience that. Certainly it's a big area here and we can go west and, you could be in areas that aren't on the water, but we work with the CFP. They, wanted their base to be downtown Miami to Miami Beach. So it played well into that. And when we discussed the events, and the possibilities of venues, those things you described are what ultimately was the go-to direction. And you never know how the weather's going to be,
yeah,
but it plays pretty well at that time of year down here. We got very fortunate. All but one day there was beautiful, beautiful weather. Most importantly, game day was a Chamber of Commerce day, and we're just proud of it. We're lucky that we have, a franchise in the Miami Dolphins and what Steve Ross, the owner, and Tom Garfinkel, the president, have done with our building, where we play the Capitol and Orange Bowl, and of course the championship game was played. It's, to me, arguably the best outdoor stadium in the country. And they invest in it with not just football elements, but the Formula One is there, the Miami Open's there. So there's all kinds of infrastructure and amenities that when an event like this 2026 CFP National Championship game comes to town, hospitality wise, it's all there. And it's only going to get better in the years to come. So we were very gratified that everything played out so well. And case in point, you're an important voice, to us because you come down and you're objective. And if things weren't on par, I'm sure, you would have to comment on that, just being transparent with your audience. So I'm glad you're saying good things.
yeah. I mean, it was the hospitality, Club CFP, like all these things that a lot of people don't get to see, that the media is blessed and privileged to see. Just, I mean, the JW Marriott Marquis being the hotel, to for me having something in common with the president of the United States that I thought I never have, which is I had a police escort to the game. I mean, the whole in the food. I mean, to me, we were so spoiled in the media. I couldn't wait to get up and get that food in the morning and go that. I mean, I took pictures of it. I was like, we were definitely treated some kind of way. So I want to go to like that side of it, right? Behind the curtain, the things that a lot of people don't get to see, like the media hospitality, the fact that we're eating and we have this entire floor to ourselves. We have different things that we could do. We have, you could shoot pool, you can, obviously have the little bowling area. There's a lot of areas to sit and do your work. But while we're eating and there's these massive televisions and this whole experience and we can play video games are around us, to our left is a rooftop pool. So I'd love for you to go into the side of it when it comes to the media, that we had our own fireworks, we had our own yacht, and we had this hospitality that was second to none. And the staff was, I don't know if I saw anybody sit down one time when it came to the staff.
Yeah. Well, the structure of the CFP National Championship game is much like Super Bowl, right? The NFL has a professional staff
Yeah.
that goes to the marketplace and runs the game. And that community, in this case, San Francisco, which is coming up in the Bay Area, has a host committee. And the host committee's job is to, A, present the community in the best of lights, and B, for that staff to make it seamless. So much of this credit really truly goes to the CFP staff, led by Rich Clark and his team. They come down and they know what they want to do because they're going from city to city each year. And our, appreciation really extends to the fact that, Rich, Brett Daniels, who works with the media,
Hmm.
component of all this, they really, embraced the host committee, the region to say, where's the best foot forward? And that's what we do is we sit down and we give them suggestions of possible hotels. Took them to a few. They ultimately picked the JW Marriott Marquis. Very happy they did. We talked about media parties, and Brett was really judicious. And I think he really wanted to showcase the indigenous qualities of Miami. We had other options, and he looked at that yacht and said, if the host committee, can get that venue, let's do it because Dan Tortora is going to go on that boat and experience something he can't experience in many markets.
Yep.
And so, for us, it's, working closely with them and to make sure that all the things that are important throughout the championship weekend, culminating with a game, are presented in a first-class manner. And the results obviously were there. We were very pleased. And, our hope is to decompress and then hopefully bring another one back to the marketplace here pretty quickly.
Yeah, and to that effort, we know that they're looking at expansion. Rich Clark was on the show and he spoke with me about, hey, listen, January 23rd is when we have to make our decision. You and I are
Yeah.
sitting here on January 22nd. So
Mm.
he said, we're going to know if we're staying at 12, if we're going to 16, we're going to 24. Those are the three options. He said, I'm happy with any of it. I understand expansion. And, he trusts that they're going to come up with the right decision. But as we look at what this is going to be, if there's going to be expansion, and the future of the CFP and how many years they're going to lock that in for, and then where the Orange Bowl fits into this. How confident are you? And maybe do you look at this as God's poetic timing that as all these decisions are being made and the future is up in the air right now, that you had such a great experience for the media, for the fans, for the game itself? It was a one possession game. It came all the way down to the wire. It came down to the last 51 seconds, if not less than that. I mean, with the college football playoff having to make decisions about their future, are you proud that Miami and the home of the Capital One Orange Bowl was able to have this game at this time to show what you can do no matter what the CFP decides?
Yeah, another great question. And, I've been here 32 years. I grew up in Miami. I know what Orange Bowl means to this marketplace. It's a very diverse area down here. It extends beyond Miami into Fort Lauderdale into West Palm Beach. It's a tri-county region, and it's the one entity, the Orange Bowl Committee, that brings the three counties together. Each and every year. It is, a city that was founded in 1896.
Yeah.
And in 1933, the seeds of what became the Orange Bowl were born. So it basically mirrors the origins of the city, and it's approaching a century. And I know they have already, gone past that in Pasadena, California. I know in New Orleans with the Sugar Bowl, they're approaching 100 years as well. Cotton Bowl, very much the same. So, these bowl games have their place in American culture. At the same time, there's significant change happening in college athletics, college football. It's an
Yeah.
inflection point. And, we recognize that you can't rest on your history. You got to demonstrate that you're the best solution moving forward. And, for the first time, with the advent of a 12-team playoff model, games were brought to campus. And it's not lost on anybody that they're electric there, right? So I went to one game. I went to the James Madison, Oregon game. The winner was coming to the Capital One Orange Bowl game this year. And it's amazing. It is. At the same token, speaking for the Capital One Orange Bowl, I would imagine my fellow Black Bowl organizations would echo. bowls have their place because they create neutral site environments where there's, balance between the fan bases. It's not, a home game. It's a neutral site game in a venue that generally is either indoors or in a good weather, environment. And the competitive side of it becomes balanced. And so for us, we're hopeful, the commissioners and the Notre Dame's athletic director formed the CFP management committee. They will meet, they'll make a decision. We're hopeful that they'll continue with the Bulls being positioned for the quarterfinals and the semifinals on a rotating basis. We feel like we have the infrastructure that's necessary to work full year round to make all the operational components seamless, to make the competitive atmosphere balanced.
Mhm.
And so we wait, anxiously for that decision. If they do move forward with the Bulls, I think all of us are ready to go and to do our fair share to make it incredibly successful.
Final note: how confident are you that your bowl and these six bowls that are a part of it will continue to be a part of the model of the college football playoff if and when there comes expansion? And secondly, we've heard about the economic impact, but just the community impact of Miami having this game this season.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we don't want to, jump the gun. I mean, it's a big decision that the CFP Management Committee has as they weigh all the different aspects of it. I think we all feel, the six of us, have put our best foot forward. I think we've demonstrated that we're reliable, that we're, in sync with the vision that they have with standardization, consistency from whatever campus site to whatever neutral site game they go, that the teams have those elements. So I feel good that we put our best foot forward. We'll find out tomorrow. With regard to the impact on the area, it's measured in so many ways. I mean, you have the visitor impact, people coming down and obviously staying in hotels, well, flying down and then staying in hotels, renting cars, going to our restaurants, enjoying love the the amenities, golf, tennis, boating, whatever it may be, that they can do in our marketplace. We're guessing that this national championship game will yield, quite a huge number with the visitors combined with, the media that comes starting with ESPN and the national broadcast, but extends to people like you that are covering this game. And it's an infomercial for whatever marketplace has these games. So, our guess it's going to be around the $300 million plus range is when it will be measured out there. And the unspoken piece of it, which is really more for South Florida, but it is important for people across the country to know that at all six of these bowl organizations, there's quite, significant give back. So when you combine the Capital and Orange Bowl game and Orange Bowl and our Orange Bowl Cares platform, combined with what we do with the CFP with their Extra Yard for Teachers programming.
Yeah.
The aggregate of all that in this last year, these two games, and the whole year leading up to it was $10 million going back into the community. Two parks were renovated, right? Two parks, one of which we mentioned at the press conference, you heard it, is 2 miles from the stadium. There were literally 9 players on that field on Monday night that came from that park in a youth football program. And we built a $2.3 million field there. There's another one going down in South Miami. We did a STEM center that was a $600,000 project in the neighborhood of the stadium itself. And then we joined forces with the CFP and did literally 30 libraries were turned into media centers. And so these are things that are really important to give back. And without the championship game, without the Capital and Orange Bowl, they're not happening. So they mean a lot to our respective communities. So we take great pride in that.
Eric Poms, CEO of Orange Bowl Committee, speaking on being the host site of the 2026 College Football Playoff National Championship and hopefully a part of the future and all of the wonderful things that have come to Miami and to the state of Florida and South Florida because of this opportunity. And I can't say enough about it. I know you have a busy day and you have other meetings here and you spend some extra time with us, but I want to tell you to your face once again this was a wonderful, wonderful experience for me. 22 plus years in broadcasting, over 13 years of owning my own company, covering the college football playoff, going to a bunch of different places. I can honestly tell you, I have spent the most time in Miami because of this national championship game and spending, almost a week there. I can tell you that it's going to be hard to top. There's a lot of great things that have come from it. I had a multi-layered experience, and I absolutely loved the professionalism, the treatment, the hospitality, and I can tell you this one is going to stay with me for a very long time.
Mhm.
Mike was fantastic. You were fantastic. The Orange Bowl committee was great. And I just give you kudos and a lot of respect. There's a lot of work, a lot of moments that go into this that nobody sees. And then the game happens and then it's over and then people move on. But I want to let you know that I'm not going to move off of the fact that your staff, yourself, and the city of Miami definitely made a fantastic impression on me and I believe on the college football playoff.
Well, I appreciate that, Dan. And, in the end, we're in the people business, right? The masses of people come down, you want to touch them. And by virtue of being on your show, I guess it was the first time was in December, and being on now multiple times and getting to know you is a great thing. And I look forward to staying close, and hopefully we'll have a chance to stay connected in the years to come.
We definitely will, and I appreciate you very much, and in your time as well. On media day, there's a million people running around, and you and I had a nice fireside
Yeah.
chat in the midst of all of it. So I want to say thank you. Please give my best to your wife and to your family. Go and do something nice for yourself. And I do want to tell you that you said to me Saturday, you said you need to get yourself to South Beach, and I went there. I think I told you Saturday, and I misspoke. We talked on media day on Saturday. You said you got to get to South Beach. I went there on Sunday, and I am so happy I took your advice. So I appreciate you, and I look forward to talking with you soon. We'll definitely keep in touch, and just thank you for the human being that you are beyond the game. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan, and we'll stay close.
Sounds good. Talk to you soon, Eric.
Okay, bye.
See you. That's Eric Poms. One more time, CEO of the Orange Bowl Committee. Fantastic treatment. Really, really wonderful human being, and treated me so very well, and so did his staff. And so, to me, and like he said, you're in the people business, and you're either relationship based or you're transactional. And there's something to be said about one of them leading to temporary success and the other one leading to lifetime success. And that second one, the lifetime success, is when you're in the relationship business. So wonderful time being there. And I mean, if you watched any of the shows, folks, you know that Miami treated me very, very well, and the whole community. I love the experience, and the college football playoff, Orange Bowl committee, everybody involved, obviously Miami and the surrounding areas. Thank you for your hospitality. Thank you for your kindness and your goodness. And thank you for giving this big kid who had these dreams as a little kid of what life could be like. I never thought that it would bring me to these places. I shouldn't say. I've always had the belief in myself. I didn't know it would be this beautiful, this wonderful, and I really have been speechless many times. And Miami gave me a moment that I'll never forget for the rest of my life, and I got to share it with people that I loved, and I got to, tell them, like Papa Joe and MT and my parents and my dog FaceTiming me and hanging out. I got to really celebrate these moments, and it's thanks to the college football playoff. It's thanks to the work of Brett Daniels and Rich Clark. It's thanks this year to the host site, to Miami, to the Orange Bowl committee, to Mike Leota, to Eric Poms, to everybody that helped to make this possible. I say thank you again. It is my honor. It is my pleasure. And to cover the college football playoff every single year, it humbles me, and it reminds me of why I got in this and why I do what I do. And it's because it's not just for me. It's to take everybody, regardless of age, background, money, or whatever's happened in your life or adversity you faced, and to tell you, if you believe in yourself and you believe in God and you put Him first and you work your tail off and you build relationships and you're consistent and you're kind and you really care about people and work to be a good person, you will be in every room they told you can't be in. So keep working, keep fighting, and I'll keep praying for y'all. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back inside the Great Lakes Honda Studios, I am so excited to have Papa Joe here on the broadcast. We're going to talk about the College Football Playoff National Championship. We're going to get his thoughts, and we'll, of course, go into the NFL playoffs. We have a Final Four there now, and more football to be played. That's coming up in just a second.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
P to the Jizzle, J. Edgar Twizzle. That man is back inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We have Papa Joe here with us, hanging out where sports truly meets that thing called life. And I'm so happy to be back here with you. I appreciate y'all for taking time with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time to speak on all of the wonderful things that are going on in the sports world and also talk about life and all the things that we do here on Wake Up Call that are a little bit different. I am here picture in picture with the Go-So, the grand old smooth one, and that is Papa Joe here with us, hanging out, and happy to have him with us once again as we have the opportunity to have a great conversation in the collegiate and professional world when it comes to football. Papa Joe, how are we doing?
Good morning, Daniel. It's been a while. It's been 3 weeks. I mean, you're zipping all over the country, and I don't get to talk to you that much.
I know it's been absolutely crazy. Blessing from Syracuse to Dallas, Fort Worth, then over to Arlington, then to Miami, then back home, then to Atlanta, then back home, then back to Miami. and it's been amazing. God's been a miracle worker as always, and I was under the weather when I started this thing. He's brought me through it. I feel better. I feel good, and the experience was second to none. It was so incredible, and it feels like it was months of doing this because there was so many things that were happening and going into it, and I want to thank the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. I want to thank the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. I want to thank the Capital One Orange Bowl. I want to thank the College Football Playoff. I just got to air my interview, PJ, with Executive Director of the College Football Playoff, the head person of the College Football Playoff being Rich Clark, and speaking with him on expansion and, you know, a decision that's looming that's coming tomorrow, January 23rd. So, you know, to be around all the people I've gotten to be around, crossing paths, and you and I talk about the College Football Playoff so much in every single season of the last many years, and to speak with Rich Clark, who's in that room, who's with the committee, who's the executive director, about the things that we talk about all the time was really cool.
Sure, you probably learned a lot. You met a lot of people, had a lot of interviews. Well, we got a kick to see you on the field there with the mascot behind you. Mary and I had a big kick out of that. I thought maybe we were going to tackle you or something like that. No.
Yeah, the mask, and again, like the moments like that to me, those are God moments. Those are like, you don't expect them, you don't anticipate them, and I mean, how poetic, how cool, how amazing, everything that went into that moment, and then to be shooting the video and have the mascot come over and celebrate with you, and then to be right there and have a perfect shot of Jason Taylor with Reuben Bain Jr. and Akeem Mesidor, who are both first-round draft picks, to having Carson Beck right in front of me, to once again be in the perfect spot for Fernando Mendoza when he walks onto the field. I mean, God put me in great places. He made me look good, and is what I'll say, because he put me right next to the trophy. And I think one of the coolest things, and I think you'd get a kick out of this, is that Tuesday morning at the Champions News Conference, the trophy was there. And so I've been around the trophy. I took pictures. The trophy was right next to me at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. But it was really cool to see the trophy at the Champions News Conference the day after the game. And while we're waiting for Indiana to come in, the trophy is just sitting there, and there's a sign underneath the trophy that says, "Not a replica, please don't touch."
Very good. Very good. Did they feed you is all I care about.
Yeah, I got, I definitely was fed extremely well. The JW Marriott Marquis, I don't know if I want to stay in any other hotel in Miami for the rest of my life. And it may be my favorite hotel of all time, and I travel a lot, and it's definitely in my top 3. I loved everything about it, but the food was just insane at the JW Marriott Club CFP. We had our own floor. We had an outdoor pool next to where we were eating, which I just spoke with Eric Poms about. Like, PJ, I can tell you this. I've been to a lot of nice restaurants in my life, by the grace of God. The food and the staff at the JW Marriott, I don't know who you hired and who makes your menu, but God bless to you all. Keep cooking, keep making it, and will you have me next weekend? That's what I said.
That's very good. Very good. Very good. How about but did they feed you at the game?
Yes, yeah, they fed us at the game. I was able to get some food. So PJ's asking this because he didn't forget the fact that I told him that I did not eat breakfast and I did not eat lunch. The day the day of the game, I got up, got ready, got on the air, went live from Miami, aired all my conversations, all my Q&As with Indiana in Miami leading into the game, had a fantastic DT and Murphy with Brendan Murphy. And then after that, I went to the game. I got there about 4 hours early by police escort, which was insane. And I'm still convinced, and I hope that they don't scramble my video when I say this, but I am still convinced that when I saw the caravan that looked like it may have been for a very important person in the United States of America, they scrambled all the phones and they scrambled the network. and I could hear Papa Joe and he couldn't hear me. And then once the caravan had like continued to come in and I walked away from it, all of a sudden my phone worked again. So all I can tell you folks is if you think the United States of America is not powerful enough to do a lot of crazy things, they are. And it was because I'm talking to Papa Joe and I'm trying to tell him, like, I think he's coming in and this is so cool to see this caravan. And by the way, the stadium erupted. I don't know what media people were saying there were boos because I was at the stadium. So I don't know who people voted for. I don't know who you like, but I can tell you this. I live in a world where I witness reality and I report on reality. Some media people are in a world where they witness reality and then they distort it and bring you whatever narrative that they want to bring you. I didn't hear a single boo, and that crowd erupted and cheered very loudly for President Trump. And I also experienced that last year at the Army-Navy game. So to those of you that think that there's not support and people aren't happy with the country right now, that was not the case in Florida.
Donald certainly moves the needle, doesn't he?
So,
yes, he does.
And so it's funny though, because wherever he was and he's smiling and he's pointing, I did a little bit of that too. Just point to a random person, give him a thumbs up. So no, I didn't. But PJ, we are here. We have the college football playoff. We have the NFL playoffs. Like you said, we haven't gotten to talk in a while, which was very sad for me because a lot of these things were traveling on Thursdays or, having game day or scheduling conflicts. And so I'm sorry because I, of course, you are at the top of my list of making sure that we talk, but you and I talked all the way through it. You and I were on the phone and MT and of course we got to experience this thing together because I made sure that you and MT were a part of it because you're a big part of my life. I want to go to the college football playoff national championship, how you experienced it, what you saw, because I know you said, you were watching my stuff and seeing my work and my interviews and whatnot. Did you watch some of those? Did you watch the Miami and Indiana interviews? Did you do pre-game stuff? And whether it be me or somebody else, were you watching kind of the lead up to the game?
Well, MT made me do that. She made me turn it on early, 4 hours early, so she could watch all the hoopla. She likes all that stuff.
Yeah.
And which is cool. I saw the players work out a little bit, and then they went back in their cave and came back out again. And actually the telecast was pretty good. I think they're sort of inane sometimes, but this one was good, and it was relatable. I didn't have to mute my sound on my bar.
Yeah.
And of course, me now kicking ESPN on my life, I have to go other sites to get my news, which is usually Sports Illustrated or Fox Sports. So goodbye, ESPN.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm experiencing the game from my point of view there. I'm not hearing the commentators. I'm not seeing, how they're doing the broadcast and whatnot. So when you were watching the game, I want to go into one play that I saw from being in Miami, like Miami's end zone area, like their corner. If you were watching the game, if you look to the left corner of Miami's end zone and went up, that's where I was. So I'm watching Mendoza on the other side of the field, and I see him get hit, and I go, okay, he's going down, maybe. And you're kind of figuring like it's a quarterback design run. Maybe he got the first down, and they'll move on. So I look down, then he's still up, and I'm like, oh, he's still up. Then he gets hit again, and I go, okay, he's probably down now. And then he's in the end zone. Watching that on television, watching him be a pinball, watching 4th and 4, they're on the 12-yard line of Miami, designed run. As soon as they hiked the ball, he took a real quick look and took off, saw the middle open wide. He went after it, and he takes the contact, moves off the contact, stays up, gets hit again, somehow keeps his body up, spins, and extends his arms over the goal line. Just your thoughts on that play where Curt Cignetti kept his team on 4th down and Mendoza powered his way into the end zone.
Well, I saw the coach bring the team to the sidelines. And almost certainly, I think they're going to kick the field goals. And then Coach Signetti is not he's not much of a personality when he's on the sideline. I couldn't read him that well. But then all of a sudden he stopped and he says, "Bring the kids back here again." He says, I read his lips, "We're going for it." And from what I read, Miami had known about that play. And I don't know if they practiced for it, but they were aware of it. However, the end of a game, when it's 4th and 4 for a championship, you don't expect that play to come up. And it perfectly designed, like you said, the middle opened up and he ran like a big tight end because he's a big guy, 6'5", 225, 230. And he's not the easiest guy to bring down. And he was the middle. He was the difference. I got to say that I really, over the last couple of weeks, I really developed a liking for the kid. That kid, he's a young man. He's just a sensational player. And of course, he's made for TV. He's going to make a lot of money. I know that. The coach, Signetti, is a real old throwback. I know he's in his mid-60s and he's come up the rough way. Imagine getting your first serious job a couple of years ago. And here he is. He's knocking everything over the fence. I have a newfound respect. This is hard for me to say. All right. I have to apologize. I have to apologize to our listening audience over the years. I've really bashed the Big Ten. Yeah. And for good reason. I mean, the SEC and everyone else was running right over them. However, when Ohio State won that big game and then Michigan got lucky and Indiana really proved to be the better team all the way through, I said, well, maybe there's something happening up there at the Big Ten. Maybe I should check into it a little bit more. And I did. And I realized that the more I looked at the Big Ten play, the more I realized that they're copying what the Southern teams have been doing the last 10 years, which is play fast. And, you can have your big 6'6", 325-pound guys, but you also need the 6'5", 260-pound guy that can run and block and everything. And I saw Indiana move really, really fast against Miami. I think Coach Cristobal realized that. So I brought his team over too during a break and said, "Look, these guys are for real. I've already talked to you guys. These guys are for real. So watch your lanes, go to your assignments, keep an eye on a quarterback, tackle. Do what you got to do."
Yeah.
And Indiana started taking the game over a little bit in the first quarter, and I was really perplexed at how Miami was playing. They weren't throwing the ball down the field. They were doing dinks and dunks and running and things like that. They have a hell of a running back. They woke up eventually, and of course, Alexander's touchdown run was, or Fletcher's touchdown run was a thing of beauty. Talk about a hole opening up, and that kid put the Jets on.
Yeah.
And zippy went, So I'm thinking that, Miami always plays fast and tough. And I says, well, the Big Ten is going to be for real. I'm not sure what next year is going to bring, but I can most assuredly say that Ohio State will be there. Michigan with a new coach, who is a Hall of Fame coach myself, Whittingham. Wouldn't be surprised if Michigan knocks off some guys. Indiana, of course, has to reload. And I think that, and I went back and I looked at the recruiting classes, and I noticed that besides Ohio State, that Indiana was creeping up there. Michigan's having a little tough time this year because they lost their dirtbag coach, who it really is a dirtbag. I don't know how he managed to stay 1 year or 2 years. But Indiana's creeping up. They're going to get the athletes now. And I think when I saw Oregon play over the tournament site, I realized that years ago that Oregon started playing much faster too, and they started beating up guys in the Midwest. So Oregon's catching on now. The Big Ten is catching on, and we're looking at the game being played fast. It's almost as fast as at the NFL. These are superb athletes. They're coming out superb. Indiana I'm looking at their results. There was no place, there was nothing that was comfortable. They killed Miami, they killed Alabama, which really shocked me. They beat up Oregon, and of course they won Miami. I'd like to say that offensive coordinator knows his quarterback really well. When you have someone like Mendoza on the scrimmage, he's like an offensive coordinator hiking the ball or getting the ball to him. He's extremely gifted. He's very bright, and he knows what he's doing. He knows his receivers. He knows what his blockers are doing. He got sacked a few times, but that's okay. His left tackle was keeping away at the end from Miami. He was keeping him upright. He got hit a few times. A couple of times he got hit not after the bell, but almost after the play. And I thought those were crucial because they weren't called.
Yeah.
All right, so now Miami's saying, well, hey, we're not counting. We're going to keep hitting them, and they did. But he sort of come through, and he's a tough kid. Indiana, they won because they're the better team. They won this year because they were the better team. I'm not quite certain that the Big Ten is the best conference still, because they don't go run through 12 like the SEC does. One thing I got to say about the SEC is they laid a big egg over the bowl season. They had a losing record, and I think some of their players are seeing that and they said, well, I'll take a trip up north and see how things go. So we'll see what the SEC's got in store next year. And I'm curious to see who's going to be quarterback for Indiana. And we'll see what happens. Ryan Day is always going to have his Ohio State guys ready to go. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we're looking at this right now, and when you talk about the future of Indiana, it will not have a Mendoza. They lose them both. Fernando Mendoza to the draft. Obviously, we're sitting here thinking, and Alberto Mendoza to Georgia Tech. So his younger brother, who was there first, he's now going to be a Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket. He made that announcement. He said in his post, he said, "Hoosier Nation, now that the season has ended, I've had time to reflect on just how special this journey was, being part of the 2024 through 26 Indiana Hoosier football team, and been one of the greatest blessings of my life. I'm incredibly grateful for every moment, every relationship, and every lesson. After a lot of prayer, reflection, and conversations with my family, I've decided to transfer to Georgia Tech. This wasn't an easy decision, but opportunities in this game are short, and sometimes chasing your dreams requires difficult choices. To my teammates, thank you for the brotherhood, love, and belief. You made this experience unforgettable, and I'll carry this group with me forever. Bloomington will always hold a special place in my heart. Thank you for everything, the support, the love, the memories. I love you all. With gratitude, Alberto Mendoza." So not one, but two Mendozas not going to be there in Indiana. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I heard that may have been a rumor that the kid was going to leave. I sort of expected him in a game if something happened to him. I realized when Mendoza got hit the second time and he had a bloody lip, I thought maybe he was down for a while, and I thought maybe he'd get up and he'd walk to the sidelines and maybe the young kid would come in. That wasn't to be. So all this guy's looking forward to is a place to play, and I think it's a wise decision. Although, if we get into the NIL stuff and the transfer portal, I'm so tired and sick and tired of it. It's just totally upset the entire nation, and the NCAA is not doing nothing about it.
Yeah.
We know the NCAA is incompetent. I don't know how these things happen so fast, and the portal got so appealing, and how the NIL money got there quick. I don't know what happened, but it completely blew everything apart. And you got some older coaches that are not going to deal with it. And Saban is one of them. We heard him. But if you're smart, you want to stay in the business, and you're recruiting well, you have to recruit for NIL money, and you have to recruit for the players. So I think, frankly, when this came about a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I thought it was embarrassing. And you came up with a comment saying that in 5 years, you say that the NCAA was not going to be in motion anymore, specifically with the Big Ten and the SEC taking over everything. And you're doing it that way, which really wasn't a bad thought. The more I thought about it, of course, it's not going to happen, but it doesn't matter if you can put 4 or 6 teams into the college football player like the SEC did, and 3 for the Big Ten. That's 7 or 8 right there. And the rest of the country, we got to suffer through the Tulanes and the James Madisons. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, and to the comment that PJ is referring to, a couple things that I said about 8 years ago. I said the NCAA. I said 5 to 10 years from this moment, and this is something I said about 8 years ago. I said 5 to 10 years from now, the NCAA will either look drastically different or it will fail to exist. I said, what we see them, what they are now, if they continue down the road that they're going down, they will either look drastically different or maybe they won't even exist at all. Then I also said that the SEC could go and form its own, and then based on the decisions of the Big Ten with taking the 4 schools out west, I said maybe it looks to me that the SEC has the ability to go form its own. Now with the Big Ten success, on top of the fact of everything that they did and the moves that they made a few years ago, I said with the moves that the Big Ten made for the West Coast, you look at it and you say between the 2 conferences, they have the Northeast, the Southeast, the Midwest, the middle South of the country, and they have the West Coast. They don't have like the Wyomings, the Idahos, the Arizona area, but they have, so many other pieces of this country. And in my opinion, I said the SEC has the ability to go be on its own. Now with the Big Ten and its contract and everything else and the moves that they've made, I think that they were saying to the SEC, hey, whatever you're doing, let us be a part of it. And now we hear about college football playoff expansion, and what's the conversation? The SEC and the Big Ten can't agree on what to expand to. Well, who's talking about the ACC? Who's talking about the Big 12? Who's talking about the MAC in the Mountain West, Conference USA, in the Sun Belt, in the American? Who's talking about the PAC? It's literally come down to the SEC and the ACC, the SEC and the Big Ten have to agree on the future of the college football playoff. So has it not come true with everything that we've seen? My prediction that the NCAA, if it existed, would look drastically different if it's even here. Because some people are probably surprised the NCAA is even still here. And has it not come true that the SEC and the Big Ten have the ability to form their own when they're the ones running the ship of the college football playoff?
That's true. Very true. It was sad to see, not sad, I should say. James Madison really didn't belong in the field with Oregon, and Tulane didn't belong in the field with Ole Miss. I mean, those two teams made the playoffs, and if they don't, I think it's a watered down effect. The only good thing I can say about the Tulane game is that the Gators got the head coach, so I'm happy about that. He seems to be a sharp guy. He's making big moves already. So I'm thinking that the SEC, the middle of the SEC that has winning records but are not running into Ole Miss or Georgia or LSU or something like that, I think that those teams are going to start coming up. Yeah. And I think that the rest of the Big Ten, maybe the ones that have been beat around a little bit like Penn State and Illinois, teams like that, I think that the recruiting is going to be better, the coaches are going to be better, and I think you'll see a lot of those teams instead of the Woody Hayes 3 yards in a cloud of dust Big Ten. That's all I remember about the Big Ten. Big, beefy guys blocking for fullbacks to get 4 yards in a cloud of dust, and they win the game. That's no longer. That's for sure. Ohio State a couple years ago opened my eyes about the type of athlete that they have up there. And they got SAT type athletes up there. And they've proven it too. I think that Kirby Smart probably is one of the best coaches in the country. But I got to say that Ryan Day is the best coach in the country. He's better than Lanning. He's better than Kirby Smart. He's going to be better than the Mississippi coach who went to LSU. The hell's his name?
Lane Kiffin.
Oh, Lane Kiffin, yeah.
The Lane train.
Metal Block.
Yeah. Well, here's the
Metal
thing,
Block,
though.
I got that one.
Here's the thing, though. You think Ryan Day is a better coach than Kurt Cignetti right now?
Yes. Ryan Day has done it several more years. Kirk Cignetti, I think I went into his James Madison background. And he certainly made his way. And he impressed a lot of people along the way. And I think Indiana deserves credit for capturing him and saying, okay, Kirk, can you do the same thing here with better athletes as you did with James Madison? And of course, he's going to say yes. And he's proved it. They played fast. They played tough. They didn't have a game. When they beat up Alabama, I says, it's all over with. That's what I said. I told Mary, I said, it's all over with.
Yeah, and I mean, Kurt Cignetti, to me, what he's been able to do in a couple of years, if this is something that they sustain beyond Mendoza, I mean, this is going to be saying a lot about what he's building. Ryan Day has obviously had a lot of success with what he's built as well. And, I think the conversation comes up to this, PJ. You and I have talked about the Big Ten having an unfair advantage in the polls that they typically don't back up. But they have backed it up these last couple years in college football. I'm not going to talk about Michigan a few seasons ago winning the college football playoff national championship in a 4-team playoff, because that was a year amidst them being investigated by the NCAA, a suspension of Jim Harbaugh, and I don't know if other schools get to keep their trophy or even compete if it wasn't, Michigan. So I'm not going to go to that, because a team under investigation during a season where they win a championship, that's a strange situation to me. But I will go to the Big Ten when it comes to Ohio State and it comes to Indiana. We've talked about two conferences having an unfair advantage in the polls, the SEC and the Big Ten, but the SEC backed it up. Well, now the SEC hasn't backed it up recently. They had a losing record in the entire bowl season this year, if you include games in and out of the college football playoff. And the best records, I believe, in bowl season this year have been from the Big Ten, the ACC, and the American. So my question to you is, we have both thought that the Big Ten was given an unfair advantage in the polls of the last bunch of years that they didn't back up. Do you now think that the Big Ten should have that advantage because they have backed it up? And do we now go into the season saying, no, Indiana, Ohio State, they should be higher in the rankings when things get started off, because they've shown in the last couple of years that they can beat teams around the country. They can blow teams out from the SEC. Is it time now to look at the Big Ten and say, as good as the SEC has been, the Big Ten should be ranked higher?
Well, I guess that's when we see the preseason polls come out, I guess we'll understand that. But let's realize that we've only seen three good teams, actually two good teams for a while, with Michigan and Ohio State, and now last year and this year Indiana. So you got three teams out of what, 12 or 13 teams?
In the Big Ten, there's 18 in the Big Ten.
How many?
18.
18? Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, that doesn't figure. And, they're not going to ride those three teams forever. I think the Penn States and Illinois and the Nebraskas and things like that are going to have to play better and schedule better. I don't see that being an issue, Daniel. I still say I have to apologize, and I do. If I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong, and I am wrong. I was wrong about the Big Ten and Indiana this year. I really was, and I apologize for that. But being a pundit, you got to give your opinion. And me, being from the South, knows how strong the SEC is. They're strong from top to bottom, just about. So don't put any cart before the horse yet. I think that if the Big Ten sustains their advantage, then that's a different story. But I think we got maybe next year, the year after that. Now, if they continue to be good, and God forbid if they have another national championship next year, then the conversation is over with.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and listen, I did not say Indiana was a bad team this year. I said when they were 8-0, I wanted to see them play a tougher schedule. I wanted to see them beat a tier 1 team. And I thought they had an easier schedule besides at Oregon and at Iowa. I thought they had an easier. I know people talk about Penn State, and it's hard to play at Penn State, but Penn State wasn't the same team this year. They fired their coach midseason. They lost their quarterback, and hopefully Drew Aller will be okay, and hopefully Virginia Tech will be rocking with James Franklin. I just wanted to see, and it was funny because I said this to Murph. I said, never said Indiana had a bad team. Never said Indiana wasn't talented. Never said a bad word about Kurt Cignetti. Never said a bad word about Fernando Mendoza. I actually said good words about Fernando Mendoza at Cal before he came to Indiana because his numbers were pretty good last year at Cal. And all I said was they play an easy schedule. And that was a factual statement because they played an easy schedule last year and they played an easy schedule this year based on what, Dan? Based on the winning percentage of the teams they played. The last 4 teams that they played in the regular season in the Big Ten had a combined record in the conference of 1-17. You have multiple teams that had no wins. You know, when you're playing Wisconsin's and the Purdue's of the world and the Maryland's of the world, those teams were not good teams this year. So I said I want to see Indiana beat a team that is a tier 1 opponent, and once they do that, now we're talking about, okay, maybe they should be ranked as high as they're ranked right now. And because when the American beats teams that are low in the rankings or not in the rankings, and they're 11-1, people don't say boo, or 12-0. And so I said, show me Indiana against a good team. And if you show me that, then okay, now we can have the conversation about where they should be in the rankings and what they've shown. And they beat Ohio State. And I said, okay, you did what I was talking about. I give you respect. I picked them to beat Alabama. I picked them to beat Oregon. I picked them to beat Miami. And they did those things. So my apology, my apology is, I don't know if it's I think the Big Ten had an unfair advantage in the polls over the years, and that was proven. Definitely in COVID, when they hadn't played for weeks and teams with 0-0 records were in the top 10 and were moving up the polls when they weren't playing games. Michigan moved above UCF when they had a record of 0-0. That was just wild to me. So what I will say, because they have had an unfair advantage in the rankings, so I'm not going to apologize about that fact. What I will say is, after Indiana won this championship, I said to myself, with what the Big Ten has done as a conference in recent history with multiple teams, I have to give them more flowers than I have. I have to give them the respect that they have earned. And I have to look at the Big Ten differently than I've looked at them. So I think the Big Ten is top heavy with 18 teams and maybe 3 good ones. But if Penn State comes to play with a new coach and Oregon, they've had easier schedules, but if Oregon can do their thing and Dante Moore and the crew can get that going, if you see an uptick, because I think Dan Lanning's doing a good job, if Oregon has an uptick, Penn State goes back to the positive side of things. Michigan can figure this out amidst all their controversy of having back-to-back coaches being investigated for different things, but still, if Michigan can be there and Penn State can be there and Oregon can be there and USC can come up and continue to trend in the right direction, plus you have Indiana and Ohio State being positive and having a factor, then now we're talking about the Big Ten, where I'm going to start saying, no, these teams should be in there. When you put certain teams, keep in mind, when Indiana beat Illinois, Indiana was 19th in the country, and Illinois was 9. And stop telling me Illinois was a top 10 team, because I don't know any top 10 team that I've ever covered in college football that lost by 53. So Indiana was not, and Indiana plays to my point of things we talk about all the time, is that teams are not ranked in the right places. Indiana was barely in the top 20. At the end of the season, There's no team in the history of college football that has gone 16-0 in Division One and won a national championship. Yale did it in 1894, but there was no championship, and teams could play all different amounts of games. Some teams played 13, 16, whatever. So in 1894, Yale went 16-0, but there wasn't a system, there wasn't a structure, there wasn't a championship. North Dakota State went 16-0 in 2019-20 in Division I AA, which is in the FCS. No one in the FBS has won a championship in Division 1A and gone 16-0. It's never happened in the college football playoff era. Indiana has made a history that has not existed. Their first national championship comes with also being the first ever FBS school to go 16-0 and win a national championship. So I will not say that I was wrong on the Big Ten getting an unfair advantage in the polls, but moving forward, I think that if Indiana can reload and Ohio State can reload, I'm going to look at them differently than I have.
I think the proof is in the pudding. I think this year we were wrong. What I don't want to see, though, is next year when the polls come out to begin with, I don't want to see 7 or 8 Big Ten teams and 7 or 8 SEC teams. You're going to see SEC anyway. All right, that's 16 or 18 teams, 16 teams out of the 25. Where are the other ones coming from? And if they continue to play well, they're going to continue to be ranked. And now we're going to be in a situation where it's too much. You can't overcome both conferences. And if you do it right and you vote right and you get the best teams out there, they're going to play. I thought Georgia was the best team in the country this year. And I was disappointed that they didn't show up. They did. They played well against Ole Miss, but Ole Miss is no slouch either. I thought Georgia probably could have handled Indiana. But we won't know that now. And Indiana's going to be woofing, and that's good. I'm happy for him, happy for the team, happy for the Mendoza kids because he's going to make a lot of money, going to make a lot of commercials with a smile. and Kurt Signetti is going to be a scholar on the sidelines. When I saw him doing his thing with his cheaters on his glasses, and he's walking up and down sideline, no smile whatsoever. He reminded me of the grumpy lobster boat captain in New England, or Bill Belichick. Yeah. Never smiled. Signetti didn't smile the whole game. They block a field, they block a punt, they recover it in the end zone. His expression doesn't change. I thought that was significant.
Yeah, it reminds you of Nick Saban. So, I think that to the credit of the Big Ten, I'm definitely seeing you differently now. And you are putting in the work. You're winning championships. You're beating good teams. And, I give credit where credit is due. I've wanted the Big Ten to show me something. They've won multiple championships with different teams. And this Indiana team was so much fun for me to cover. I had a fantastic experience of it. And I have nothing but good words to say. PJ and I are going to take a step aside. We're going to come back, have a little bit more college football, and then we'll jump into the NFL playoffs, who are in their final 4 inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Stay with us. And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. We want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. A delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Kaz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point because you get a little something different at each one. We understand how hard it is to, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
I have to remind Joey to call and pay that bill.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry-loving friend. Right, Lily? And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We appreciate you being with us, hanging out Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York for sales and service. You can go to them Monday through Saturday, and of course you could go anytime to Great Lakes Honda City
PJ and I talking about the college football playoff national championship and the NFL playoffs. I will say this in an apology to the Big Ten. I thought the SEC was going to win a championship this year. So I was high on the SEC this year. The Big Ten, you proved that to be true, that you were the better team, or better conference, I should say. And, you figured things out. I picked Indiana to win their 3 games. I picked Miami to win 3 of 4. And I definitely am happy to see the ACC do what they've done. And the Big Ten, again, coming off of this game, thinking about the recent history, I sat there in Miami and I said to myself, I might have to change my tune moving forward about what I think this Big Ten can be. The SEC backed up the high rankings. I didn't think the Big Ten was backing it up besides Ohio State. Now Indiana's come to the table. Let's see what they look like moving forward. But the Big Ten is definitely the better conference right now. In this moment, the Big Ten's in a better spot. And so we'll see what that looks like for the SEC and the Big Ten. PJ, staying at 12, going to 16, or going to 24? I spoke with Executive Director of the College Football Playoff, Rich Clark, about expansion. He told me they will have a decision by tomorrow, Friday, January 23rd. What do you think they should do? Stay at 12, go to 16, or go to 24?
Look, at the playoffs already watered down. You have some teams this year that shouldn't have been in. And it's not fair to the James Madisons and Tulanes and things like that. But it's going to be watered down even worse. You're talking about a conference with 18 teams. You're talking about a conference with 16 teams, and 15 out of 25 are going to be ranked every year. Now, where's the parity in that? And they want to bring in more. What are they talking about, Dan? They're talking about revenue. They're talking about money. That's all they're talking about. That puts the pressure on the colleges to go out and recruit more for NIL money, and again, more money. I don't like it. I didn't like the playoff this year, but I had to go through it all. I had to watch the games. I had to comment to myself. I had to save my comments for you. I didn't like the way things were shaping up. The more we got, when Georgia got beat, I says, well, I was still going to watch it because they're good football. Yeah. And I did watch it all. But it's not going to get any better, because next year, the possibility of the Big Ten having more than 3 teams, or maybe 2, because I don't think Michigan's going to qualify next year. So the SEC, is going to have their teams 6 or 7 or 5 or 6 in the playoff. The parity may be between the Big Ten and the SEC, but not the rest of the country. I see a watered down effect, and I really disagree that they should go moving forward.
Well, 24 to me works. The system works. I'm going to break it down in a special video today. We've talked about it, but I'm going to take some pieces. Randy Etzel, Gary Stokin that have been on the show had some good ideas. I'm going to give you my ideas coming off of those conversations and coming off my conversation with Rich Clark on what I think would work and how I think 24 is the only way to go, because 16 will keep things pretty much the same as 12. PJ, before I let you go, let's take a look at the NFL playoffs. We know that we have the Broncos and the Patriots on one side. The 2 teams that were fighting for first place of the AFC will now fight for who is first place in the AFC truly, heading on to the championship game in the NFL. And then on the other side, we have a third game being played this season between the NFC West teams, the Rams and the Seahawks. All too poetic that the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers all had 10 wins or more, all made the playoffs. The NFC West was the best, in my opinion, division of football this season. And proof is in the pudding that no matter who wins the game in the NFC, an NFC West team will be in the NFL championship. So your thoughts on the Broncos and the Patriots, as well as your thoughts on the Rams and the Seahawks, and what this is going to look like no matter who wins the championship. We're going to get a mixture of Broncos-Rams, Broncos-Seahawks, or Patriots-Rams, Patriots-Seahawks. One of these things is going to happen. So what are your thoughts on the Final Four?
It's been good. The tournament's been good so far. I'm following as much as I can. I like to follow all the games. So what view them all. The New England Denver. New England proved a point this year that they need a responsible coach to go forward. They have one. Tennessee, for whatever happened with Mike Vrabel, something happened with their brain trust. You don't let a guy like this go. Just like you don't let a guy like John Harbaugh go. Why do you let a guy like McDermott or John Harbaugh go? These guys, they're not thinking. They hear the little rumors and I'm going to find out about this. This guy's talking about this. This guy doesn't like the owner. Forget about all that stuff. You deal with it on the field. Anyway, that's a little rant. New England and Denver is a match for defense. That's for sure. I'm really disappointed that Bo Nix got hurt. By the way, Daniel, Bo Nix got hurt because he ran the football. Papa Joe, I don't want to hear it, and I hate to hear it. I hear you all the time. I don't like running quarterbacks. So with that out of the way, he got hurt running. So anyway, he's got a broken foot, and he's going to be playing. Jarrett Stidham is going to be the backup, who happened to be the backup for Brady when he was there years ago at New England. Stidham is no soft touch. He's a tough player, been around. He knows what's going on. I look for this defenses are going to be great. I don't know about the offensive coordinators. You got Jeff. You got Coach Payton going to be calling the plays. I wonder what he's going to do, if he's going to make it a change in the lineup because of the Stidham being a bigger and more mobile than Bo Nix was. Just be curious to see what's going on with that. The Rams in Seattle, offense against defense. Seattle proved that they are one super tough defensive football team. Badass, really bad. Matthew Stafford hangs in there better than any quarterback I've seen. He'll get bumped around, but he'll be tough. He's got the best receiver in football, Nakua. I look for Seattle. I don't know if Seattle offensively can stay with the Rams. The Rams can come up with a little bit of defense. I think they win the game.
Yeah, I mean, and you brought up a bunch of pieces here, and it's sad because the Denver Broncos had an opportunity to win an NFL championship this year, and losing their quarterback at the end of the game, and to lose him in overtime, just the way that everything shook out in that Buffalo game was just, it's sad to see, because here you are, this high moment, you're one step away, and you got the chance to play the other top team in the AFC, and now you're doing it without your quarterback. You were high on Bo Nix. I coming off, I give you credit. You were high on him. Then I jumped on and said, you know what? Okay, I'm with you, PJ. You've been talking about this guy. I think he's going to be good. We both predicted he would go to the Broncos. I predicted in the preseason, before he was even named the starter, that he would have the second best rookie season of the quarterbacks last year, behind only Jaden Daniels. He did. He made the playoffs. I've been high on him and high on the defense all year. So have you. And, we've been rocking with, I should say we've been high on Bo Nix. But, as the season's gone on, I've been speaking about the defense. And then New England, I said going into this year, don't be surprised if Drake May has a good sophomore season. Don't be surprised if he does well. I spoke about him having a good sophomore season and Caleb Williams, and they both have. And I predicted that Mike Vrabel should have been the coach of the Patriots last year, and not this year, but a year prior to. So you see the work that's been put in and what's happening there. I don't like this matchup because I don't like that Bo Nix isn't out there. I know Denver's defense is going to bring it. I know that Jarrett Stidham's had some good moments where he's filled in certain places. But, I think that everybody thinks I shouldn't say everybody, but the majority think the Patriots going to win. It probably feels like 90-10 because Bo Nix isn't out there. But don't forget that Bo Nix's heroics don't come without a really strong defense to back him up this entire season, and I think he'd tell you that too. And then on the other side with the Rams and the Seahawks, it's hard to play a team 3 times, hard to beat a team multiple times in a season. The Rams have Matt Stafford. Devontae Adams has resurrected his career after being with Aaron Rodgers with the Jets, and obviously spending time with the Packers to start off his career. At one point considered arguably the number 1 wide receiver in the country. And then you have Puka Nacua, who is arguably the number 1 wide receiver in the country, but Jackson Smith and Jigba on the other side for the Seahawks has something to say about it. Arguably, we're seeing the two best wide receivers in the NFL go up against each other from the same division with an opportunity to play for an NFL championship. We're not going to see Zach Charbonnet, unfortunately, and God willing, he'll be okay for Seattle and able to come back. But we have Kenneth Walker III, who I covered in his collegiate career. He was at Wake Forest running the ball. And, I mean, Kyron Williams, I've called him the best running back to come out of Notre Dame in many years. And I think he's arguably the best player to come out of Notre Dame, period, to the NFL in many years. So shout out to him and kudos to the work that he's done consistently. The defenses are awesome. I got to cover Jared Verse. He went to UAlbany, then he went to FSU. Now he's there helping out the Rams defense. The Seahawks have been fantastic. Sam Darnold has proven once again that it's a Jets problem, not the problem of the player, but the problem of the organization. So, I mean, whoever wins Seattle and LA, we're going to get spoiled. And because we're going to have one of the best receivers in the nation, and we're going to have these two quarterbacks that didn't give up on themselves and bet on themselves. So either one of those quarterbacks, either one of those receivers, it's going to be an awesome Super Bowl for them on their side. And then on the other side, you know, you feel like it's going to be the Patriots because you don't have Bo Nix. I hope it's a game. I hope it's close. I don't want to see Denver's season end like this. And I don't, it's weird. It's like I want Denver to keep playing because I don't want the injury to be the reason why they don't make it any farther. But I also don't want to see them win an NFL title without Bo Nix on the field. So I'm not wishing bad on the team itself. I just feel like you want to have that complete team together to be able to do it. So I think it's going to be the Patriots on that side with the unfortunate injury to Bo Nix. And on the other side, it's so hard. I mean, I want to pick Seattle, but I also want to pick LA. And that's a difficult play for me. I'm probably going to pick LA. I think they got a little bit more. And I think it's going to be Patriots and Rams. But, I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if the Seahawks win. It's just, I think at this point, Matt Stafford's got an opportunity to win another NFL title in short order with the Rams after spending most of his career in Detroit. And Drake May has a chance to win an NFL title and to bring a team back that Patriots fans, after Tom Brady left and Bill Belichick left, thought that maybe this team was dead in the water. So the Patriots got a shot of having a new run toward a dynasty, and the Rams have a shot of Matt Stafford looking like he's 25 years old and going to play for the next 12 to 15 years. So it's pretty crazy, PJ.
Matt Stafford's a player. But I'll tell you, I sent you a little note when I was watching a Drake May play. This kid can play.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was that big. I looked up his stats. He's 6'4", 220, something like that. Reminds me of Trevor Lawrence back there. I mean, he's a stud. He makes good decisions. He's tall in the pocket. Throws the ball downhill, which you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You got little guys trying to throw up over the lineman, which doesn't work. He's a serious player. And I think Mike Vrabel saw that, and he says, I'm going to ride this guy. Mike Vrabel is a defensive specialist and probably will win this game because he knows a lot about Jared Stidham anyway. Stidham is not a cupcake. He's a tough player. He's been around. He knows he's ready to play football no matter where. His college coach Gus Malzahn, who used to be with Auburn, is that he's always ready to play, and he's going to surprise a lot of people. And I don't doubt that. On the other side, it's Seattle's defense. If they stop Matthew Stafford, the game is over. But like the Boomer says, that's why they play the. By the way, did you see the Boomer at the championship game?
I didn't see the Boom. No.
You didn't see the Boomer.
No.
That's embarrassing. The Boomer's got to be everywhere.
I didn't see the Boom. I met him when I was in Jacksonville covering a game there and got to talk with him personally about just my love for him and the work that he's done and how he does his work. And he put his hand on my shoulder. He told me he really appreciated it. Then he came back and he goes, "What's your name again?" I was like, "Dan." He's like, "Last name." I was like, "Tortora." And he goes, "Yeah, Tortora." He goes, "All right, I'm going to remember that." He goes, "I really appreciate your words that you said to me. He said, those really mean a lot to me. And having somebody that I looked up to growing up and just absolutely loved is like one of my top 5 broadcasters ever, to tell me that me telling him, you know, how I feel about his work was something that meant a lot to him and that he thought about when he walked away and it stayed with him. You know, I'll never forget that. You know, speaking with him, speaking with Bob Costas, like there's just moments like that really mean a lot to me. And the boom is back, back, back. You know, there's just all these things
back. That's right.
Yeah, that just stick with you. And, you know, Curtis, my favorite, Martin, all that stuff that he had. And,
oh, yes.
And
Alexander killing me softly.
Yeah, and then
that's the football guy, the golf guy.
Him and Tom Jackson, man. I mean, just the two of them together. So PJ, feet to the fire. Who I know we talked about a little bit here and brought it up, but if you have to pick and you got to lock it in, who are your picks to make it to the championship?
I'm going to go with New England and the Rams.
Okay, and I have stated that same. So we're going New England and we're going Rams here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We're 100% in that direction. PJ, any final notes? You got to see it. You got to, you know, be with me as part of the college football playoff, sending it to you and sending it to MT. You know, your thoughts on the college football playoff, your thoughts on Miami and everything that happened. Overall look at the game, thoughts on the Hurricanes. You haven't really talked about Miami in this episode. So overall encompassing, now that you've had a couple days to think about it, overall encompassing thoughts and reaction to Indiana, Miami, what you saw, and what the entire scope of this CFP looked like this year.
Well, I do have some comments. First of all, it was a wonderful game. It was played well. I still have difficulty with these students jumping all over the world to play football without NIL money. I don't get it. I mean, you go to 4 different schools and get NIL money, and you're not even going to graduate. I'm reminded of something that Carson Beck said just 2 days ago. Carson Beck was interviewed, and he said they asked him. He says, "Well, how you doing in school and everything like that in Miami?" And he says, "Well, I don't go to classes." And he says, "What?" And he says, "I've already graduated. I don't go to classes." So he said, Miami playing football for free.
Yeah.
He said he's going to work on his master's, but he doesn't have any classes this year. Now, Daniel, tell me something's wrong with that. I mean, you're an educated guy. I'm educated. We had to bust our ass to stay in school.
Yeah.
And these guys, they float around the country with no accountability to the professorship. None.
Yeah.
I had to go and listen to that again. And that's exactly what Carson Beck said. Take it from there.
Well, Stetson Bennett, you know, what didn't he laugh about or joke about the fact that I'm in my 5th year at Georgia and I don't have a bachelor's degree. And, you know, I mean, to say that out loud, I was like, well, that sounds like an immediate investigation. But, you know, it's that part of it is the tough part of it, you know, but to say that you can't play 4 games, or you can't have 4 teams, or you can't have 12, or now you can't have 24, it's not true, because the FCS has had the 24-team playoff system, and it works very well. And I think the FBS, the college football playoff, should mirror the system of the FCS, because I think they do a great job with it. I mean, do it your own way, but the 24-team works, and you still got to go to class, and you got to do all that stuff. So don't say it's about class, because it's not what it's about. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you, PJ. You know, Chambliss was applying for a 6th year of eligibility, and he didn't get it, and now allegedly he's suing the NCAA. And
right.
There was a guy, I think, that had 11 years. There's a guy that had 9. There's people that have multiple medical red shirts. I think they said that, like, there's someone that's in the transfer portal that's applying, like, the amount of schools that he's gone to in 4 or 5 years is just insane. And when you transfer, they don't always take all your credits. So you might have 50 credits, but they are only going to take 33. So you got to understand, if they go to 4 teams in 4 schools in 4 years, they're probably not going to graduate. If they go to 5 teams in 3, they're not going to graduate. So you might be there for the equivalent of getting a bachelor's degree, but they may be nowhere close to getting the degree. Who knows what their major is? You know, if they're doing a lot of this, they could be doing online classes, having tutors, they're on the road. It's the student side of it is massively affected, and we need to talk about that. The money side of it is making individualism, and they just need to have a blanket thing. They need to come up with NIL and say, hey, this is what you got. You opt in or you opt out. You give all your players the same amount of money. Everybody gets the same stipend. This is what we're doing. Because, listen, I'm all about you doing your own thing and building your own brand. I'm all about that. Okay, because that's what I do. But in college, it's the bridge between you're living with your parents, typically, or guardian, and you're going to the real world. It's the bridge of showing you the real world before throwing you into it completely. You create a system where you all make the same amount of money. Everybody's on the same playing field. Your quarterbacks, your offensive lineman, your wide receiver, your long snapper, everybody's making this money. Now we're all even. Now it's back to being a team. They teach you how to build your brand. But listen, you can build your brand after that. You can build your brand in the NFL. You can look at Nick Saban. Nick Saban's making a ton of money not being a coach anymore, being in Aflac commercials and all this other stuff that he's doing. He's on College Football Game Day. So there's a way for you to build your brand, but you have to have an NIL system where people are making the same amount of money. And you just do it in tiers, okay? You opt into tier 1, you got to pay your players $1,500 a week. You opt into tier 2, you got to pay them $1,000 a week. You opt into tier 3, you got to pay them $500. Whatever you want to do it, however you want to break it down, but you have to go back to the team system. An offensive lineman is never going to make as much as a quarterback, and an offensive lineman is the reason why that quarterback stays upright and can do anything. If there's not a good offensive line in Indiana, then Fernando Mendoza is not the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. So let's be real about that. Mendoza, let's just say for argument's sake, a Mendoza makes $2 million. An offensive lineman makes $30,000. Okay, the offensive lineman should be making the $2 million, because without him, without the 5 of them or the 10 of them in rotation, there's no Mendoza. So there's no holes being open. There's no 1,000-yard back. So if you don't have a good offensive line, then you don't have Roman Hemby getting to 1,000 yards. You don't have Mark Fletcher Jr. getting to 1,000 yards. You don't have Malachi Tony getting to 1,000 yards receiving. You have to look at this and say the guys making the majority of the money are not who they don't have the opportunity, if not for the offensive line, if not for the defensive line. So we have to start doing this, and that's my argument of saying create an even system of making money. I'm not saying they shouldn't make money, but you cannot sustain this model. I've warned you of this multiple times. The schools cannot sustain this money. They cannot sustain the opting in and the $20.5 million, and it's only going to go up. We cannot sustain as a country consistent rising prices, because you can't consistently raise prices, consistently raise minimum wage, because you're not going to be able to afford it. And in raising prices and minimum wage, you're going to keep putting it on the consumer. It's not sustainable to continue to raise everything. Businesses are not going to be able to afford their employees. They're not going to be able to afford the products. We're not going to be able to afford to go in and buy that stuff. So we have to somehow find a way to cap this thing and stop treating America like the Los Angeles Dodgers, like they just keep printing money. So we can't keep doing that. And PJ, I guess to the final point here, to talk a little bit of baseball before I let you go, are you for, as we go to a new collective bargaining agreement with Major League Baseball, we know during COVID that they fought with each other, and the Players Association and the league were not having it, and they couldn't agree on stuff. And you and I were there in the 11th hour of this lockout and what was going to happen here with baseball. And we talked about the pause, and then we also got to talk when they figured things out and they had opening day. Major League Baseball, do they need a salary cap? And does the league as a whole have to say, we can't let another Dodgers situation happen where they can legitimately buy anybody they want? And Murph brought up a great point in deferred money, you know, getting these guys signing massive deals and then having it all on the back end. As the Players Association and the League of Major League Baseball come together to create a new collective bargaining agreement, do they have to do something on deferred payment and salary cap?
I am for any club doing what they need to do to win. These are independent businessmen. They're all very wealthy. They're smart. They made their money in a different way. They're spending it in a different way. If the Dodgers want to spend $800 million a year, I don't care. You got to beat them on the field. Now, yesterday, Cody Bellinger finally signed back with the Yankees. And on top of that, Freddie Peralta, the Brewers' #1 pitcher, just signed with the Mets this morning. So again, you're talking about the Mets landing 2 players in the last 3 days.
Yeah.
That has the possibility of getting them in the World Series. Yeah. Those 2 players alone, Bo Bichette and Freddie Peralta. One's a pitcher, one's the best shortstop and third baseman around. They can hit the hell out of the ball. And all of these teams were vying for their to come to play for us, like the Phillies and the Blue Jays and everyone else and the Cubs. You know, you still have to beat the Dodgers on the field. The Dodgers have 3 Japanese players that are really super players. And there was another Japanese player who was coming through the system. And last month he says, I don't want to join the Dodgers because I want to play against them. I want to beat them.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But then what did the Dodgers do? They signed the best player in baseball the last 3 years, Kyle Tucker, for another astronomical amount of money. Am I in favor of that? I don't care. If they look at the other teams that better come up with a good cable contract, because the New Yorks and the Los Angeleses, they got money coming in everywhere. Not only they're wealthy businessmen, but they make good deals. So if Chicago, you don't have a good cable contract with your cable provider, you better do something. Detroit, do something. No, I'm all for everything. I don't have a problem. I don't like to see the business part of it that way. All I want to see is the product on the field. Can the Dodgers get back to the World Series? Maybe. Can the Mets come back? Maybe. The Yankees, does Cody Bellinger make them another championship team? Maybe. It's all up in the air, Daniel. When the hot stove leave is just about over with, in another couple of weeks, then it come into spring training. Then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and we're going to see it February. Catchers and pitchers coming in. So a lot of talk here on the show, as always. Happy to have PJ back. The college football playoff has made its decision, and I should say the college football playoff's decision was made by Indiana over Miami. PJ, do you think Miami's got something here? Okay, I argued with people that these were both underdogs. It wasn't Indiana's this fantastic team and Miami's the underdog. They're both underdogs. Indiana has pretty much never been good in football for the most part. They've been a non-factor in the bottom of the Big Ten. Miami hasn't been a factor nationally for a long time. They've had blips. They've had moments. There was the expectation that they could win the ACC and they could get themselves to the college football playoff, but they would trip at some point in the season and lose a couple games and knock themselves out of it. So is Miami for real? We've talked about Indiana. Will Miami be back? Do you think they're a national power? Is Mario Cristobal, who's an alum who played on this team, is he the right guy? And do you believe that Miami is going to be a representative of the ACC and a national contender for years to come?
I think so. I think that they have a recruiting base down there which is second to none. The Miami high schools will flock to Miami. One little tidbit that we can talk about that's sort of funny is the Mendoza family is from Miami.
Yeah.
And Mario Cristobal is from Miami. Those 3 guys, Fernando's father, Cristobal, and Fernando, or another one, all went to the same high school and graduated from the same high school. Fernando couldn't get a scholarship from Miami. They didn't even offer him a walk-up. So what happens? He winds up in Indiana, and there's the answer right there. So it's cool that the Indiana parents are watching the team, and they're from Miami. I thought that was neat.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and Miami was a fantastic host city, amazing broadcasting for the first time ever from Miami, Florida. Add another city in our second home of Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, our second home in the great state of Florida. Add another city to the fray, to the Tallahassee, Jacksonville, St. Augustine, Orlando. Add now Miami, Florida, to where we are broadcasting and bringing you the show. PJ, as always, I appreciate you. Appreciate your time. Never can have enough of it. And I'm so excited. Like, I got so many things to say. I'm so excited about this because I'm just happy to be back on the air with you. But I miss college football already. Come back soon, CFP. And, you know, we're going to have some news coming up here. I'm going to keep sharing my conversation with Rich Clark. I am completely and utterly humbled, blessed, thankful, and appreciative of Brett Daniels and Rich Clark, the entire CFP, the CFP committee, for allowing me the opportunity to cover this fantastic creation over the last decade plus that is here, and to be on site on location, to be at the national championships, to be a part of the historic 12-team year and whatever is to come from this, and for the executive director to take time with me to talk about the things that PJ and I talk about all the time. So with that being said, Papa Joe, thank you so much. Enjoy the NFL games this Sunday, and I'll look forward to talking with you soon.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. Bye-bye.
Take care. That comment from Papa Joe. Here where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Happy to be here with you, and always thankful that you're here inside these Great Lakes Honda City studios. Great Lakes Honda City, coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York, for sales and service. They are open Monday through Saturday, and they're open all the time online by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com, checking out their inventory to buy and lease. They have new and used vehicles waiting for you, from the Civic to the Accord, the Pilot, the Ridgeline, the HRV, the CRV, and more. Find it all at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. We'll take a step aside from the Great Lakes Honda City studios, and we'll give you our Player of the Week right after this.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing, and so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community community any way we can. And I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
New York, great cars, great people, Great Lakes. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks comes to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Find GG Cards and Breaks open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, Sundays from 10 to 5, and tonight we're heading over to the Wildcat. That's right. Every other month, GG Cards and Breaks brings their trade night, which used to be on premises at 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York at their store. It's gotten so big that we now go to the Wildcat throughout the year. We'll see you over there. Two great partners of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in the Wildcat Sports Pub and GG Cards and Breaks come together for trade night throughout the year, including tonight, whether it's Disney Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, One Piece, as well as hockey, boxing, soccer, baseball, basketball, football. Bring your cards, bring yourself. Come on over to buy, sell, and trade with great food, great cards, and a great atmosphere of wonderful people in the central and upstate New York card collecting community, and those of you that travel in to central and upstate New York for moments like this. We look forward to seeing you tonight, Thursday, January 22nd, from 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. on site, on location at the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York, for GG Cards and Breaks Trade Night. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life, I want to thank you for being a part of the show. And Myers Creek, we typically bring you our Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week at the top of our Thursday broadcast. We're now going to be bringing it to you here in this moment. And so I definitely appreciate the opportunity of being able to bring this to you. And so here we go with our Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, proudly presented by Myers Creek. My Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week for this week, proudly presented exclusively by Myers Creek in both of their locations on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse, New York, in the Syracuse Inner Harbor, as well as out on the countryside on 33 Rippleton Road at their main brewery in Cazenovia. My Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week for this week goes to the one and only Joe Gardner of East Syracuse Manoa Bowling Squad, who helped his team get a victory here recently and having a high score up against their matchup that they had with Fulton. His high score, the highest you can have in bowling, 300. Finished with a total score of 744 to lead his entire team. I want to shout out Kevin Herlihy, who ended with 542, Zachary Castle, who ended with 639, Kyle Nissen, who ended with 370 in having two sets that he had here, and Anthony Messina in his three sets with 565, and Alexander Locke, who had 722 to be a close second for ESM behind Joe Gardner. In their victory over Fulton, Joe finishes with three sets totaling 744 and bowling a perfect game in the second set of 300 to help his team get a victory over Fulton. And looking at their season this season, 8-1, 6-0 in the SCAC, and led by Marty Perino. Just a fantastic East Syracuse Manoa boys bowling squad. And our Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week this week for what he just bowled yesterday in the victory over Fulton, Joe Gardner, for his 300 game and overall 744 score to help give his team their 8th win of the season in 9 games for East Syracuse Manoa. Thank you to Joe and to the team at ESM Boys Bowling in being a part of this Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, proudly presented by Myers Creek. Joe Gardner is our choice for this week. Making it happen, man, and just bowling a 300 game. You do that at any level, any age, anywhere in the world, and you definitely should be getting a shout out. Shout out to you, Joe. Congratulations to ESM. Keep it rocking, keep it rolling, and keep knocking down those pins. And that comes to you once again from Myers Creek, our exclusive partner and our Player of the Week for Central and Upstate New York every single week. Go to Myers Creek and taste the difference, be it their drinks or their food. Their tap room on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in the Syracuse Inner Harbor in Syracuse, New York, right by the Syracuse Aquarium that's being built currently. And of course, on the countryside in their massive multi-acre establishment on 33 Rippleton Road in Cazenovia. With that being said, I want to thank you for being with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. We're going to take our final step aside and wrap things up right after this from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios.
Avicoli's Restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on in to the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Big time thanks to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, coming to you on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. They are open for you Monday through Saturday, of course, closed on Sundays in celebration of God and having, there's very few companies in the world that are off on Sundays in representation of the Lord. And I commend Chick-fil-A for doing that. Megan Sorber and her team bringing you the fantastic food at Chick-fil-A, the favorites that you absolutely love. And you can head over to Chick-fil-A today on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard to get those favorites as well as their limited time only. And of course, those frosted beverages that are now available there. So you have floats and frosted beverages added to the menu that already has a bunch of fantastic choices at Chick-fil-A. Head over to Chick-fil-A DeWitt today. Let them know the DT sent you to the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard here in Central New York. Big time thanks for everybody that downloads the show, saves us, bookmarks us, however you connect with us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, and you will find us there. Thank you for your support. And of course, speaking of support, big time thanks to the fantastic and wonderful partners we have in Central and Upstate New York. Great Lakes, Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Brakes, Myers Creek, Bryan's Landing, K9 Camp Dog Daycare, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, K9 Campground Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, Game Point Sports Complex, Avicoli's, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Mother's Cupboard, where I have my own sandwich, the Cuse Mac Mother, available to you 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. only at 3709 James Street in Syracuse, New York, and you can also get it for takeout, so make sure you do that. And of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. Find the Bobcats with us every single month of the last 4 years here. And you can, of course, get them on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our BSC Syracuse playlist. The Bobcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find the Bearcats every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining the show. All of the content is on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. The Onondaga Community College Lasers are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find the Lasers every other Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We have 2 more broadcasts coming up with OCC in February, and we look forward to you being a part of those. And we thank you for being a part of all of our other broadcasts, including a wonderful conversation that truly touched my heart and reached me in a special way from OCC men's lacrosse head coach Eric Maddox and student athlete Richie Martinez. You could see all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our OCC playlist. The Lasers are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to onondagalazers.com and go Lasers. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I want to thank Eric Poms for a wrap-up of Miami being the host site for the 2026 College Football Playoff National Championship, and his team, him being the CEO of the Orange Bowl Committee that oversees the Capital One Orange Bowl that is inside of the College Football Playoff every single season of this 12-team playoff, either as a quarterfinal or semifinal game. I want to congratulate the Orange Bowl Committee. I want to thank Eric Poms and his entire team and everybody at Miami and the host site and just the surrounding area and every county and everyone that got involved with the 2026 College Football Playoff National Championship to bring a fantastic, memorable, exciting, and very unique approach to the CFP. I want to thank Eric Poms and his team, and of course, Capital One Orange Bowl and the Orange Bowl Committee, as well as the city of Miami and the state of Florida, our second home on with Dan Tortora Broadcast Media and on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Big time thanks as always to Papa Joe. It's been a minute since we talked inside of this college football playoff and the travel that I had. PJ and I finally got to get on the air with each other to talk about the culmination of the 2025-26 season with Indiana defeating Miami 27-26 in the College Football Playoff National Championship game in Miami, Florida at Hard Rock Stadium. And, of course, also got to speak on the NFL playoffs. We're both picking the Patriots and Rams to go to the NFL Championship here in the 2025-26 season. And, of course, Joe Gardner, big-time shout-out to ESM Spartan Boys Bowling Student Athlete on being our Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, proudly presented by Myers Creek. And thanks to Myers Creek for all that they do in the community. We look forward to seeing them soon. I hope you have a wonderful day from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. Do not miss my special that's airing on all those outlets as well as on youtube.com/Wake Up Call DT right now with Executive Director of the College Football Playoff, Rich Clark. Also, do not miss any of my content that aired late last night and today, featuring the Syracuse Orange and Virginia Tech Hokies. The head coach of Virginia Tech is on all of these channels and our YouTube channel. Mike Young is there. Adrian Autry of the Syracuse Orange men's basketball team. And I just aired my specials this morning that you can check out by going to any one of our channels. You could see my conversations with Syracuse guard Nate Kings, Syracuse forward Sadiq White Jr., and Syracuse forward William Kyle III after Syracuse has another loss in a close contest, speaking on where the team is at and having multi-layers to our conversation. Do not miss those one-on-ones that are airing right now on our channels on Wake Up Call. In the meantime, God bless, no stress, do your best. I'll see you tonight at the Wildcat for GG Cards and Breaks Trade Night from 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. GG Cards and Breaks brings their entire amazing, wonderful atmosphere and the Central and Upstate New York card community and beyond to the Wildcat. We'll see you there tonight, starting at 6 p.m. here on January 22nd at the Wildcat. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. God bless, and be good to yourselves and each other.